Hi everyone, welcome to this new video about the Netherlands, and in this week's video I will be talking to you about one of my favorite provinces in the country called Friesland and some of the things that you can do there. For those who are new here, my name is Manon and I am Dutch. And on this channel you will be discovering the Netherlands beyond the crowds with a local, that is me. You can also find my travel blog where you can find many articles that will help you plan your trip to the Netherlands at visitingthedutchcountryside.com. Friesland is one of my favorite provinces in the Netherlands and it was even voted one of the best destinations in both Europe and the world to visit by Lonely Planet back in 2018. However, now that media attention is gone, it's time for me to tell you why you should visit Friesland. And it's a lot. So make yourself a cup of tea, grab some biscuits and take a seat. For now, like, comment and subscribe, and let's head into the video. So some basic information about Friesland that you need to know is that it's one of the sparsely populated areas and provinces in the Netherlands and only has around 650,000 people living there. And its capital is the city of Leeuwarden, which was also the European capital of culture back in 2018 as well. The capital of Leeuwarden has around 105,000 people. One of the reasons why Friesland is so famous within the Netherlands is because of its very long coastline, as well as beautiful areas, the countryside, and idyllic cities that you need to visit. And while Friesland is one of the sparsely populated areas in the Netherlands, it is actually the biggest province in the Netherlands if you count the water area as well. The highest part in the province of Friesland can be found on one of the islands that also belong to Friesland. They're called the Waddeneilanden, or Wadden Islands, or West Frisian Islands. There are several names for them, but the highest point in Friesland is found on the island of Vlieland. And it's a dune, which is around 45 meters high. And while it's not high for many people, it's pretty high for the Netherlands and for this area. So beyond that piece of information, there are many more things that I can tell you about Friesland that will leave you inspired to travel there. For one, they have their own language. It's called FRISIAN, so Fries or Frisk in Dutch and in Frisian. I'm not sure if I pronounce it correctly because I don't speak it. But yeah, they have their own language. And because it has its own language, it feels immediately for Dutch people and for foreign visitors that as soon as you arrived in Friesland, that you've entered a completely different world. And in a good way. Another thing that you should know about Friesland is that they have some very interesting sports. One of the sports that you need to see is vuurjappen. I'm not quite sure if I pronounce it 100% correct, but it's vuurjappen. Anyway, beyond my probably horrible pronunciation, vuurjappen is, let's say it so fast, it sounds so wrong. Vuurjappen is it's a sport where they grab a long stick, they will run with the stick, and they need to, well, the goal is to cross one of the rivers or ponds or smaller creeks. The one who lands the furthest away from the edge of the creek of the river wins. It's a typical Frisian sport, and if you're in Friesland, it's one of the things that you need to see. Friesland also has some of the most famous Dutch people that you might know. For instance, Mata Hari, she was from Friesland. The exotic dancer and the spy, yeah, she was from here. And Doutzen Kroes as well, who is one of the most famous Dutch models. Sven Kramer is a worldwide speed skating champion. And then you also have Epke Zonderland, who is a world famous gymnast. In Friesland there are 11 cities that have city rights. There are also cities that do not belong to the 11 cities that are actually bigger and have more inhabitants than the places that do have city rights. But the 11 cities are the most beautiful cities in Friesland. They are idyllic, they have beautiful streets, they have canals, friendly people. The 11 cities in Friesland are Bolsward, Sloten, Harlingen, Borkum, Leeuwarden, Dokkum, Franeker, Sneek, Aalst, Hindelopen, and last but not least, Stavoren. Friesland also has the most islands in the country. There are 4 Wadden Islands, or Dutch West Frisian Islands, that belong to the province of Friesland. They are Vlieland, Ameland, Schiermonnikoog and Terschelling. Ameland is the island that mostly exists out of sand dunes, and it's very beautiful. It has around 26 kilometers of beach and it has more than 100 kilometers of cycle paths. So even on the islands, you're not safe for cyclists. I'm sorry to disappoint. Terschelling is home to the Netherlands' oldest lighthouse, which is called the Brandaris, and it dates back to centuries ago. Beyond the Brandaris lighthouse, there are many more things to see and visit in Terschelling. You can visit small little towns, lay on the beach, do whatever you want. It's a beautiful island. As long as you do not go to the Appelhof, which is a place for teenagers to celebrate their summer break. You can imagine how it goes because, well, Dutch teens like to drink. There are people drinking, etc, etc. Where you do not want to stay, but beyond that, the island is safe and beautiful and definitely worth visiting. The island of Vlieland was actually part of the province of North Holland, which is the province where Amsterdam is located, until 1942. But then after that it was part of Friesland. And on Vlieland you can find one little town. It's called Oost-Vlieland. It's the only village on the island, so that's one of the places where you can stay. And on Vlieland you can also find the highest point in Friesland that I already told you about. It's a dune and it is 45 meters tall. It's the island of Schiermonnikoog. It is an island that is almost completely a national park, with the exception of one polder and a small town. But beyond that, it's completely a national park. It has one of the widest beaches in Europe at 1 kilometer wide, which is quite big for an island that is as small as Schiermonnikoog. It's beautiful. It's filled with beautiful nature. You can go for endless walks. So Schiermonnikoog is also a beautiful island, and it belongs to, yet again, the province of Friesland. Beyond the islands there are beautiful villages and small towns that you can visit in Friesland that are literally everywhere. It's impossible to cycle or to walk for a long time and not see a beautiful small town. Friesland also houses some of the best museums in the Netherlands, such as the Fries Museum, which has a lot of artworks and plenty of other things to discover. And there's also a beautiful open-air museum in the small village of Allingawier, and there you can discover the regional culture of that certain area in Friesland. The IJsselga Museum is another museum that you have to visit when you're in Friesland. It's found in the town of Franeker. And it's very, very famous for having a beautiful, what is it called? I don't know, it has the solar system on the roof. It's beautiful and you can see the solar system there, discover the planets and everything that you need to know. Friesland is also very famous for having a lot of water. It has a lot of lakes, a lot of creeks. And what can you do best on the water? Well, rent a boat, for instance, or do some water sport, go kite surfing. Friesland is the perfect province to go kite surfing and windsurfing because it's at the coast, so there's a lot of wind incoming from the Wadden Sea and well, the North Sea as well. So yeah, there's always quite some wind, which is very nice, and when it's warm during summer, renting a boat is the perfect option because there's always a slight breeze. You can discover Friesland from the canals and from the creeks and rivers. It's beautiful. And it's a must. Friesland is also home to some UNESCO World Heritage Sites. For instance, the Wadden Sea is one of the rarest places on Earth. Because of the rare intertidal system in the Wadden Sea, you can find very rare species here. It's a beautiful area, and if you are here, I would recommend you to go mudflat walking as well, because this way you will find and experience the Wadden Sea the best way. Another World Heritage Site is one of the pumping stations. It's called the Boudagemaal. It's found in the small town of Lemmer. And here you can discover how Friesland essentially stays dry. Because it still works, but it's not as essential as it used to be. Because technology, it developed. So yeah, explore the Boudagemaal and find out how Friesland keeps its feet dry, especially during the winter period. Beyond that, Friesland is home to 4 of the national parks in the Netherlands. The first national park that you need to visit in Friesland is called Oude Venen or Oude Venen, and it has been a national park since 2006 and is mostly very famous for having peat islands and more than 500 different sorts of plants and a lot of orchids. That kind of area of the Oude Venen National Park cannot be found anywhere outside of this part of the Netherlands, which is why it's very important that we keep it this way. And luckily, with being a national park, that means that Oude Venen is safe for constructions and everything. There are lots of different birds that are breeding here, and it's a beautiful, beautiful national park to visit. Oude Venen is also the biggest nature reserve national park in the province of Friesland. Then the island of Schiermonnikoog. I already told you that most of the island is a national park. It has been a national park since 1989, and it is very famous for the reason that because it's an island, the Wadden Sea can just work its way and it's not much protected by a lot of dikes, etc, etc. So you will find a lot of different animals here, plants. It's one of the wildest areas in the Netherlands because it's not as controlled as most of the parts of the country. The third national park is called Blauwersmeer and it's shared between the provinces of Friesland and Groningen. So it used to be a lake, but it was closed off in 1969 from the sea. So after closing the Blauwersmeer in 1969, there wouldn't be any more water coming from the Wadden Sea. The people who were in charge thought it was a good idea to leave it alone and do nothing with it, and because they didn't do anything to it, it's now a very special area in the country. The last national park that you can visit in the province of Friesland is the Drents Friese Wold, and it has been a national park since the year of 2000, and it is shared between the provinces of Drenthe and Friesland, obviously. It's mostly known for having heather fields and forests, and it is 61 square kilometers big. Friesland also has 2 of the 2 dark sky reserves in the Netherlands. One can be found at the Bosplaat, the other one can be found in the Blauwersmeer National Park. So what's a better way to experience Friesland than by first visiting the Blauwersmeer during the day to see the beautiful nature that has evolved in this area that has been essentially cut off from the sea, and then at night enjoy one of the darkest places in the Netherlands and see some beautiful magical stars. Friesland is also home to many interesting events. Oerol is one of the best and incredible and interesting art events in the Netherlands, and it's basically a summer festival and takes place on the island of Terschelling during the summer. So if you're an art lover and are interested in paintings and in theater, then Oerol is an event that you cannot miss. Another great event is Snake Week. And Snake Week is basically a big sailing race every single day. But by the end of the day, so during the evening, the entire city of Snake is one big festival. It also takes place during the summer. So if you are planning your trip to Friesland during the summer, then Snake Week cannot miss on your agenda. Many people also rent boats in the morning and in the afternoon to go to the city of Snake and to its surrounding lakes, which is beautiful, and they swim there and relax, and then during the afternoon people are, if the weather is good, barbecuing and enjoying their time, and then in the evening people are partying. The entire city of Snake is filled with stages and performances and DJs and with people mostly. People that are partying, people that are drinking, people that are simply having fun. Another event that you need to visit in the province of Friesland is the Visserijdagen in Harlingen, or the Fishery Days in one of the 11 cities. And during this event you will discover the Frisian fishery industry. You can explore some of the old fishing boats, techniques, discover incredible seafood, and there are many more events during those days. Another event that you have to visit in Friesland are the Friese Ballonfeesten in the town called Jouwer. During the Friese Ballonfeesten you will notice a lot of air balloons in the sky, many different colors and shapes and sizes, and it's a beautiful sight to see them all rise up, especially when it's a beautiful day. Another interesting thing is that Friesland has a lot of Well, nice beaches. One of the nicest beaches can be found in the town of Lemmer, where you can also find the UNESCO World Heritage Site called the Wouda-gemaal, or the Wouda pumping system that I told you about. Then the Frisian Islands are of course one of the best places and areas in the Netherlands to see beautiful sandy beaches. Then another thing that you need to know about Friesland is that there are some tulip fields to be found in Friesland. So if you do not want to see tourists cycling near tulip fields, then this area is a perfect place to see them. Although there are not a lot of tulip fields, so just be aware of that. In that case you can head to the province of Noord-Holland, which is next to Friesland. And then you can find more tulip fields. But if you're in the area of Friesland already, during tulip season, which means mid-April, the end of April, then you will see some tulip fields there. They're mostly close to the province of Drenthe, to that border region. Another thing about Friesland that is interesting to know and interesting to visit is that it has the biggest dike in the country. Well, not only Friesland, because it shares the dike with the province of Noord-Holland. The Afsluitdijk, or the closing dike, it is the biggest dike in the Netherlands at around 31 kilometers long, and it closed off the Waddenzee from the previous Zuiderzee. It used to be a sea, but because it was very rough and it caused a lot of floods, we decided to close it off to be more safe, essentially. At Afsluitdijk you can also find a place called the Monument, or Het Monument, which is the place where the last hole of the Afsluitdijk was closed off. And here you can find a little restaurant, and you can have a beautiful view on the IJsselmeer, which is the old Zuiderzee, basically the old sea, on one side. And on the other side you will have a beautiful view on the Waddenzee World Heritage Site. And another thing that you can do on the Afsluitdijk is visit the Waddenzee Center. Here you can discover everything about current innovations of the Afsluitdijk, as well as discover everything you need to know about the Waddenzee and the IJsselmeer. So if you want to be informed and want to learn more about that area in the Netherlands and of Friesland, then that's also a beautiful and very interesting place to visit. So yeah, those were all the things that you need to do in Friesland. I will leave some links in the description box below where you can plan your ultimate Friesland trip, basically. So yeah everyone, that was it for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, like and comment if you have any questions, and I'm happy to answer them down below.